Abaticola and Ferrari discuss everything. With Matt Abaticola.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I'm sorry I ruined your New Year's Eve party. She tasted like cigarettes.
And Jason Ferrari.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Two complete nincompoops with microphones and access to the World Wide Web. Presented by Mickey Finn's Brewery in Libertyville, Lake County's oldest brew pub. Now, here are your hosts for this shit show, Abaticola and Ferrari.
Hello there, podcast friends, and welcome into another episode of Abaticola Ferrari Discuss Everything. He's Jason Ferrari. I'm Matt Abaticola. We're glad to be here with you for episode number 46. It's called Pickled Medley. We appreciate you taking the time to download and be a part of the program. Episode 46, I can't believe we're through 46 episodes of the AFDE show, Abaticola Ferrari Discuss Everything. We are brought to you by our good friends over at Mickey Finn's. They're located at 745 North Milwaukee Avenue in beautiful and historic downtown Libertyville. You can check them out at mickeyfinsbrewery.com. They're on Twitter at Mickey Finn's, Facebook at Mickey Finn's as well. Fantastic food, wonderful people, and of course, delicious homemade beer. They are the oldest brew pub in the state of Illinois. And next week, you know what's being released, Jason? They are releasing the October
Not Santa's Magic. Oh, okay. I was going to say Santa's Magic was like 83 days or something.
Oh, God, yeah, I wish it was Santa's Magic. No, so
yeah.
There's a special release party next week for Oktoberfest. So we're looking forward to enjoying some of Mickey Finn's Oktoberfest brew. Check out their live entertainment schedule. It's at mickeyfinsbrewery.com, or go right to their Facebook page and see what they have going on. Again, this is episode 46, Pickled Medley of the Abaticola Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast. He's Ferrari, I'm Abaticola. So it is Tuesday for us here in our week, and which means 2 days ago, Jason,
yes.
The NFL. Well, actually, the season kicked off last Thursday. Full slate of games on Sunday. We had a couple in the doubleheader last night for Monday Night Football. But, of course, the Island game, the highlight for Sunday, was the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers on Sunday evening. I know you were excited. I was extremely excited to have the opportunity to go to Lambeau and actually watch our beloved Bear take on the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and for anyone who is wondering why we sound like we're in an aquarium, Matt and I are doing a special version of the Tuesday night show in our underwear at our own respective residences. So it's a fun new adventure, and yeah, Bears, lots of Bear stuff. I don't know where you want to start, dude. I have some good stuff. Obviously, there was some bad stuff. Some questions that I think still need to be answered, and I assume they would, given the fact that it's week one of a brand new offense. First official starting opportunity for Mitch Trubisky. So, where do you want to go? Where do you want to start, man? I've got all kinds of stuff.
Well, I'll just start on a personal level. Having the chance to go to Lambeau to watch the game, we drove up Sunday afternoon, Crystal and I, and never experienced a game at Lambeau. I never really had a desire to go up there and catch a Bears game. Fortunately, it was the first game of the season, so we had beautiful weather. That certainly is going to make it easier for me to make that decision to go sit outside and watch a football game, because I will not sit in the cold. I know a lot of you out there love that aspect of being out in the cold. I do not. Crystal has been to countless number of Packers games at Lambeau. She's told me she's been to at least 20 Bears-Packers games, and
wow.
she's never seen a loss. She's never seen a Packers loss in Lambeau to the Bears. That made me feel terrible as her boyfriend and as a Bears fan. I thought I would give her the honor on Sunday evening of giving her first loss to the Chicago Bears. Because, man, that certainly was a tale of two halves. The first half, I cannot recall a football game that I've enjoyed watching outside of probably Super Bowl 20, outside of watching that first half. I was so excited and just I was like beyond belief how happy I was sitting there at Lambeau watching the Bears dominate the Packers in the first half, 17-0, to see Khalil Mack worth every penny in 2 quarters of play as a Chicago Bear, not being really in football shape, not being ready to play a football game. But this guy walks basically out of a gym, gets to his team less than a week ago, and dominates the game from the defensive side of the football in the first half with a strip sack that saved points, an interception, return for a touchdown. I was so blown away by the first half of this game. So let's start there. Let's start with what you saw in the first half, what impressions you had, what feelings were going through your mind as you're watching the first half of the game when the Bears up 17-0.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all knew the kind of player that we were getting in Mac. And actually, we have not recorded since that happened. So, so we were as meatball-y as it could get when that trade was pulled off a week ago. Yeah, that's probably one of the best halves of football I've watched, like not having anything to do with the Bears, just in general in a long time. And it was just icing on the cake that it was actually the Bears who were doing it. But yeah, I mean, you could see firsthand how Mac can not only take over a game kind of, on an individual level, but just allowing everyone around him to kind of reap the benefits as well. And I think what we do need to focus on is defense. That's what the shining moment of that half was. From an offensive standpoint, it wasn't the most amazing thing. I wasn't expecting it to be yet, but we'll get to that shortly. Yeah, Mac, just what was it, a record for the best 3 minutes in football? Something. Yeah, it was dude, a 3 minutes elapsed time.
It's insane because we obviously know that the guy's talent level and his skill level and his abilities because of the contract he was given and his previous 4 or 5 years in the league, whatever it's been. We know the kind of dominant player he can be from the linebacker position, a game changer. That was a Hall of Fame performance in that first half. I mean, when you take the entire situation and you put it all together, walking into a new team in less than a week, putting on a brand new uniform of, one of the historic franchises because of its longevity within the league, the history behind what this franchise is, especially from the linebacker position. I know he's not a middle linebacker. It's not the 4-3 anymore, but, he's an outside rush linebacker. But right. Just being a linebacker for the Bears, there's significance there. And just to walk in without really having any time to work with the team, any significant amount of time, and to perform like that and to just dominate was so unbelievable. I mean, and I don't want to get too much into the second half. We'll get into it because it was disgusting. Right. But you have 2 of the greatest performances that you'll get to see watching a game in what he did in the first half and in what Aaron Rodgers did in the second half of that game.
Without question. And I think one thing that was really cool that I noticed about Mac is, when he first came in after the trade was made, everything, signed the contract, and you could tell the guy he had no problem meeting with the media and stuff. He's open to answer any questions, but he was like, I just got the playbook. Like, I just want to go, I want to meet my teammates, and I want to start studying this playbook. And I think all of us assumed we didn't know what kind of snaps he was going to get, but he was going to get some snaps that they were going to pretty much say, okay, well, do what you do. You can learn the defense in time, but get out there and put pressure on the quarterback. That's why we brought you here. That's why you're a rare talent. That's why you signed the richest defensive contract in the history of the league. And, if all signs are pointing to what we all thought we were getting, I'd say that first half. And I don't know that it's fair to say that we can expect that every single week. But I mean, like, for someone who, missed all of training camp and was literally just working out, like not playing football of any kind, and just completely took that half over. I think there were some people who were giving him some help. Hicks being one of them, taking up double teams as normal, in the center of that line, and just allowing him to do what he does. Even with one hand, you could tell Floyd was paying dividend as a result of it. So, I cannot wait for just I'm excited to watch games as opposed to like where you're like a little nervous and you don't want your Monday to suck like this did, unfortunately, but there were some positives, and the defense, especially Mac, were at the top.
No, certainly, and to have those kind of expectations for him, that's not realistic. But just to see what he can do, and I love he came off the sideline at one point, and I've seen the video now a few different times on social media that he's walking around and coaches are walking up to him, and he's just saying to him, "Is that what you wanted? That's what you wanted, right? That's what you wanted, right?" And, obviously that's what they told him. They were like, listen, everything will come together. We'll get this defense gelled together. It's going to take a few weeks. But you go out there and just do what you do. Be disruptive, get after the quarterback and make plays. And don't worry about what the schemes, the terminology, or this or that. I mean, we'll make it simple enough for you just to go out and be who you are. And that's exactly what he did. And if defenses, and I know, how offensive coordinators are, how teams are, how you have the game plan for guys. Now, every team on the Bears schedule watched that first half and was like, holy crap, this is like what we're going to be up against, in week 2 or week 5 or week 12 or week 16.
Week whenever,
and,
yeah.
And the fear for those teams down the line is this defense, they stay healthy, getting that much better. If that's what they did against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers the first half without much preparation, imagine what they're going to be like in 6 weeks.
Right.
I've talked about the NFL season a lot. That I kind of look at it as two different seasons. The first six games, your last 10 games, because I've seen teams kind of putz around the first 6 games of their schedule and really make a difference in what they do and how their season finishes in those last 10 games. If the Bears can kind of get things together and get the offense melded a little bit and kind of figure things out for Matt Nagy, first year head coach, get this defense some reps and get all your starters together and healthy on the field at the same time. Imagine what they're going to be like, in Game 7. What this team's going to look like their final 10 games of the year if people are healthy. Imagine what the offense will look like with Allen Robinson and Howard and Cohen and Nagy understanding how he needs to be better as a first-year head coach in calling plays that aren't scripted, but in going with the flow of the game and finding out what's best for his team at that moment. I mean, I can't recall being this excited about a Bears team and the possibilities of what this season could turn out to be.
Right. And, you did mention something about Nagy learning, as a first-year head coach. There were a lot of things to me that were evident on both sides of the ball, because even though Vic is calling the defense, he has some input in it. And there were some things that outside of, Khalil Mack that I was wondering. For example, Aaron Lynch, who, I don't know if anyone even really knows that guy is on our team. For some reason, got practiced one time all of the preseason, did not play any preseason games, and got the start. I don't know. I think there is something to playing veterans, but that guy earned nothing, and it was
he earned nothing, dude.
Out there.
I mean, you might as well just play 10 on defense. Yep. When he was on the field, there was no reason for him to be there.
He was a non-factor.
At one point, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm sitting there and I'm like, 99. I'm like, who's 99? I didn't even it was just complete. I was totally thrown off by it, and it took me a few minutes to even figure out who it was, and I was like, what a waste of space. I mean, I think there was one play, the ball was snapped, and he grabbed an offensive lineman and had a conversation with him. Hey, how was your training camp? Everything good? How's the family? What are you doing, dude? Yeah, there's a questionable thing there. With Nagy, obviously, when he got outside of the scripted plays and the flow of the game, particularly in the second half, a lot of questionable calls. His use of timeouts was kind of interesting. But those are things that I'm not going to get upset over. I'm not going to be mad about, because it's the dude's first game. And
right.
I know, but I've heard,
and we saw 2 different halves. So
yeah, 2 different halves for sure.
Another thing is, and I completely understand, and for the most part, agree that Nick Kwiatkowski gets the start, given the fact that Roquan's a rookie. But you and I have said since before the draft even happened, all we wanted is a guy to come in and play. And and this is not I don't think I'm being overzealous at all by saying the guy came in, his first play ever, he gets a sack. But I mean, you could just, the speed difference is noticeable. and him being out there limits teams in what they can do. Nick is just, I mean, he's a very good linebacker, and he could start for teams, and he will be a good person to have in the event of an injury. But they owned the middle, that the short to intermediate routes, like they owned us because he can't do sideline to sideline. It was very noticeable when Smith was out there.
Yeah, and he'll certainly be a solid contributor, special teams, and in the rotation, and you could see it more clearly when I could see more clearly because I was at the game more than on TV because I'm seeing the whole field, and just watching Kwiatkowski run across the field, and at one point myself I was like, good grief, is he slow? He's not slow, but knowing the speed and the ability that Smith has, he looked slow, and I was like, oh, good grief, man. Like when Smith is at 100% to go and out there and taking the majority of the snaps, like it's going to be very foolish to try to go across the middle of the field. The Packers, the only routes they were getting successful plays on until the fourth quarter when it seemed like Rodgers was doing anything he wanted were those crossing routes. And, I want to see you run, an 8, 10, 12-yard crossing route with that guy sitting in the middle.
Right.
I want to see that happen because, first of all, you're not going to get away from him. Secondly, you catch the ball near him, he's going to kill you. He put a hit on somebody that I heard from the opposite end of the field about 43 rows up into the stands in the end zone. I mean, he's going to kill people. And so, like I said, completely disappointing outcome to the game, but so many positives, even with the first-year head coach and some of the play-calling decisions, some of the negatives that encompass this game, so many positives, and seeing the few plays he was in and the difference he made and how he will play at a higher level once he's at 100% to go, it's gonna be pretty exciting to watch.
Agreed. There's a couple other things that I saw on defense because then I know we want to get into the offense in the first half. But another start that I was a little surprised by, I know Jonathan Bullard. I really liked him coming out of Florida. It's his third year in this system. But if you watched any preseason football and if you heard anybody who was on the beat, like he completely outplayed by Robertson Harris. And I'm a little confused as to why he got the start because you could tell Robertson Harris is 6'7". He put on an extra 15 pounds and he is disruptive, So I'm hoping moving forward that he gets the start opposite Hicks on Sundays, with Bullard coming in as a rotational piece.
Do you think it was deliberate in the fact that you have a first-year head coach and he kind of went in those decisions that could have gone either way, went with maybe the safer decision?
Maybe, but I feel like Vic's
what would have been the more logical decision, maybe?
Don't you think Vic's? I don't know. Yeah, I agree, but I mean, I'm wondering if you'd think Vic is making who's starting. I mean, you retain Vic.
That's a good point.
For that reason is for his expertise on that side of the ball. So, but I mean, was that the difference in the game? No, but you could.
Oh no.
The thing is, you've got number 52, and you could just tell whatever side he's on, they're screwed. They're gonna have to either double team him in this game. In some instances, they were triple teaming him and chipping him with a tight end or a running back or both. That's going to be a problem for teams. We're hoping that once Leonard Floyd has 100, I don't want to say he's 100%, has 100% hands. He'll be a force and even more disruptive on the opposite side of playing with Mac. We know what we're going to get from Hicks, but we need good play from the defensive ends as well because all that stuff will lead to better play on the back half, which is the last thing that I wanted to get into and stress as well. Fuller, here's something that is kind of stressing me out going into the season, and it's going to continue to stress me out a little bit. I think we made smart decisions in re-signing Amukamura and bringing back Kyle Fuller. They're very good man cover corners. The problem is they don't catch the ball, and that's one thing that could have probably put the game away. I know I'm kind of tired of people being like, yeah, but man, that he didn't lose the game. No, he didn't lose the game, but he could have won it. He could have won it for him on that, and we needed it. That's the time where you need to make that play. What worries me a little bit is, and I really did like what I saw from Callahan. I think, when he's healthy, you can tell that guy, he covers well. He's a good hitter. Safeties, we know what we have there. We know what we have in Eddie Jackson. I think we have some pretty significant depth problems though. Depending on how injuries factor out. I mean, we did not dress like 4 corners, and Sherrick McManus got that because, got a spot because of his play on special teams. So when Amukamura went out, and there's a guy, frankly, I didn't even think was deserved to make the roster, who is the backup in Marcus Cooper. So, I don't know what we have after those two, and it's safety too, because right now, DeAndre Houston Carson, I think he has a broken arm. So the only real backup safety that dressed was Deion Bush. Jonathan Mincy was an inactive, I believe. So, that might be a concern because, if the pass rush is certainly going to help in that area, but if one of those guys go down, I know that the Bears had in, what's his name? Mike Mitchell. I think he was drafted a couple years ago out of by the Steelers. They had him in for a tryout at the safety position. So I think maybe they're seeing that, could be a potential issue as well. But I don't know. It just made me a little nervous, and I do feel like that's the weak spot that we actually might have thought was a strength, is our corners, right, who are predicting all these turnovers, who never really intercept the ball.
All right, so looking at the first half on the offensive side of the football, clearly the scripted plays, what Matt Nagy knew he wanted to do to start the game off, not only was it executed almost to perfection, but you had the Packers that didn't really seem to know what to do or how to defend it. I just thought that the Bears were able to pretty much do whatever they wanted to do offensively, whether it was throw the ball downfield, and Trubisky made some nice throws downfield. Didn't make a whole ton, but he threw a few. But their ability to run the football, I thought between the tackles they were getting 5, 6, 7 yards every carry, and it looked pretty easy. It looked like they were moving the defensive line, and there really wasn't a whole lot of resistance in getting the run game going in that first half of the Sunday night game.
Well, at least on Kyle's side, Massey's not going to do much for you in the run game, but yeah, Kyle was taking care of business. I mean, he was lighting people up, and he was down the field. I don't know if you saw, there was a play that Collinsworth started talking about where Kyle, it was like he flung the guy, this guy, you just see this guy go flying, and then Howard just cuts in and goes. I do think, and this is always something that kind of worries me a little bit about offensive coordinators who are innovative and all that stuff. They get too innovative. And there were some things where it's all right, dude, you've got Jordan Howard, you've got your bell cow, your offensive line is moving people forward. Like you said, they're grabbing about 5-7 yards a clip. There's no need for a lot of that trick stuff. There really isn't, and just to continue to use that with a lead. So, I'm hoping that he learns from that. Whereas, right, Howard should have been running that ball. They were doing what they wanted. And, the Packers, I will say, and it's, I don't know what people's opinions are of McCarthy sticking around, just based on, their postseason activity the last several years. And they haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2011 with arguably the best quarterback in the whole league. And, right, but he's straight up out coached, and Mike Pettin, first year defensive coordinator, who's not a first time defensive coordinator, made adjustments, went to a 3-man rush, dropped 8, and it just took it took away our ability to do anything, and we didn't run the ball either. So, there was definitely some teaching moments, I will say, right, because we then that can take us into talking about the second half. We saw 2 different halves of football on both sides of the ball, and even with a veteran coach in Vic, the way he was calling defense as well. They took their foot off the pedal. Yeah,
I didn't get to see a ton of replays. I was trying to watch the big screen as much as I could to see a replay, but they didn't really always show them. Their communication within Lambeau was pretty poor. I was irritated with that. But not having the same view or replays as watching the game on TV as in person. Tell me if my eyes deceive me, but I saw too much as far as the run game was concerned because of and I only say this because of the success they were having running between the tackles. I saw too much misdirection. I saw too much running outside the tackle when I just felt it's not necessary. Like, keep pounding until they do something to adjust. Until, like, make it easier on your rookie quarterback or your second-year quarterback who hasn't had a full season yet. Keep running the ball between the tackles until they stack the box and fill it with 8, and then make it easier on him for the passing game. And I thought they had opportunities that they got away from. Too much misdirection, too much running outside the tackles. One thing I thought there wasn't enough of, and I haven't gone back to look at specific stat numbers to see this, but I thought there wasn't enough use of Cohen in the passing game.
Right.
I thought I'd see more of that. All of his runs, and obviously because of his elusiveness and his ability to make cuts, he does go outside the tackles. He does have the misdirection. Even if it's not intentional, he'll run one side and bring back. I was just disappointed from what I saw at the game to not take advantage of what they were dominating running between the tackles, and that was pretty frustrating. Not only being able to eat up some clock, but just take off some of that pressure from your quarterback into having to make passes when you had, they basically had 6 or 7 defensive backs in the game to start off in the first half.
Yeah, and the lanes were there, and there were you were definitely seeing the same thing. These were designed misdirection plays. These were designed runs out on the perimeter, whereas Jordan is. I don't know that there's a better vision runner in the league right now in terms of like waiting for his block to develop and then going. So if he jumps out in between the tackles and then bounces it outside, which he is known to do, that's fine. But yeah, they were just getting too. It was like being tricky for the sake of being tricky. It wasn't necessary. And I think that also talking about the offense leads me to also try to understand some personnel decisions on that side of the ball. I make no secret about this. I've talked about it since beginning of last year. And I'll keep talking about it until it changes. I do not think Cody Whitehair should be our center. I don't care if our draft pick is 20-year-old rookie. I don't care. That's his natural position, and he doesn't snap the ball over the quarterback's head, to which Cody did, and at the worst possible time. But that was not the only errant snap of the game. High snaps constantly with him. I mean, he's a better guard.
I wasn't sure how it came across on TV, but so we were sitting the 43rd row in the end zone. So I was in the end zone. The Bears' first offensive series, the first quarter, the end zone they were coming into was the end zone I was sitting in. So I had a really good view, particularly when the Bears were facing me on Trubisky's arms on the snaps. And if I had to put a number on it, Jay, and maybe I'm exaggerating it, but I would say 80% of the snaps he had to reach up for.
Yep, I counted at least 15. At least 15, and then I was so pissed I stopped counting.
Now someone might say, well, what's the significance? What's the big deal in that? That extra half a second is the difference between a sack and a completion. Like if he has to reach up and there's a half a second difference, a quarter of a second difference, where his eyes aren't where they're supposed to be because he needs to make sure he catches that bad snap, that could literally ruin a play. And people think, it's not that much time. But that's the difference, though. And you saw the difference of what half a second, a quarter second can mean from the first half to the second half, talking about the Packers offense. Rodgers came out in the second half to start, and he told his coaching staff, I can't move.
I can't drop back.
So if I'm going in, I'm in the shotgun. The dude was in the shotgun the entire second half. And he went from holding the ball an average of 3.2 seconds in the first half to 2.5 seconds in the second half, or 2.3 seconds in the second half. That difference of less than 1 second is the difference between being pressured and making completion. And
Right.
you saw just that short a time what difference it makes. Now, if this guy's consistently having to reach for a bad snap on a shotgun, that's going to take off a completion. That's going to start hurting your offense. And I know you've been saying it since day one. The guy should not be the starting center only if for any reason alone. It's because of that reason alone. And that is a significant and important enough reason to make it not happen anymore.
Right. And he, all that aside, like the timing and how much that throws a wrench in it, you're in an RPO offense that is 80% from the shotgun. Like there's no other way to look at it other than like it's a problem, but it's not a new problem. It's been a problem. And you drafted James Daniels, who is the best center in the whole draft. You drafted him to be your center. And because Mitch probably has a trust with Cody, I know they're best friends and all that stuff. I don't care. Sorry. Like, you can be best friends with him playing guard. It's going to be a problem. It's a pass heavy shotgun timing based offense. And that bad snaps. I mean, if it happens at a good time, there's no good time for it to happen, but it happened at such an inopportune time. And it's just like, I'm so over that, I mean, like, I have nothing against the player. Just don't have him snap the ball. He could still, he's a blocker. He was a guard in college. That's what you drafted him as. He was forced to play center because of an injury to Grassu. Like, it's just, we don't need to dwell on it. It's just something that's going to be it's going to be a point of frustration, but it's something that's it's an issue. Like, it's an obvious issue. And I think that they're going to try and hopefully rectify that sooner than later.
Right. And the point of that too is that it's not something that he's going to improve, because it would have happened.
Well, he's even changed, like, what was it in the preseason? He started to change the way he snaps. If you notice it, like, the ball is straight up and down. It's a different way. And I'm not noticing any improvement. I'm not, it's not an improvement because he's not doing it on every snap. It's you don't want him to do it on 10, 15, 20 snaps a game where Mitch is looking up at the lights instead of down the field. Like, it's a problem.
Right.
Another thing, and I'm sure you noticed this at the game, but this is another guy that it sucks that we gave this dude guaranteed money, because I don't think he deserves to be out there, is Deion Sims. I don't care how good of a blocker he is. Dude can't catch.
No, I agree.
There were crucial third downs that went to him. And it's just like, dude, get off the field. Come on. Like, sorry, but we need you to catch passes as well. We didn't sign you to be a tackle. Right. I mean, it's that. Otherwise, the offensive personnel was what I thought it was going to be. Everybody dressed. Right. One person who is inactive, who I am looking forward to seeing hopefully later on in the season, if we have a healthy enough roster, is Wims, just because he creates a pretty good matchup, mismatch out there at 6'3", 2+. So,
and one other note on that second half too, and what a lot of Bears fans, I heard criticism about the second half and the defense and Big Fangio, and why did he stop pressuring? Why was he blitzing? Why weren't they trying to get after Aaron Rodgers? Why they let him sit back there and get so comfortable? Like, and I get it's out of emotion. People they don't clearly think it through. Like, if anyone thinks the Bears didn't want to get after Aaron Rodgers in the second half, I mean, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
You have to also give a professional NFL team and an excellent coaching staff some credit in the adjustments they made. Like you said, you talk about Mike McCarthy and how Packers fans might feel about him. I can tell you what I heard from the people around me. Initially, there wasn't a whole lot positive being said about Mike McCarthy, and during that first half, I mean, there was a lot of people around me that were talking about McCarthy and how much of a bum he is. I mean, and that's what you see too. That flip side of it, where you go to those extremes and the anger because of what was happening. But this was a team that was booed off the field walking into the locker room at halftime. I don't know how much of it they showed on TV, but
they did.
Every Packers fan there, they booed this team off the field. I don't necessarily agree with it as a fan, but hey, you do what you got to do. But they made the necessary adjustments based on his injury. I think if he wasn't injured, it might have looked like a different second half. That they would have tried to keep doing the similar things they were doing, and maybe the Bears would have been able to get to it. maybe he would have scrambled more and he would have held the ball a little bit longer. That injury may have been beneficial to them, to the fact that he sat in the pocket and got rid of the ball, half a second to a second faster than he was in the first half of that game. So don't sit there and say, oh, the Bears didn't do this, the Bears didn't want to do that. Why did the Bears, why did they stop this? They didn't. There were adjustments made. That's what good NFL teams do. That's how you come back from, being down 20-0 after that first field goal in the second half, and you win that game 24-23. That's what good teams do.
Good teams say what you want to say, but I'm telling, it was, no matter, you're watching it in the stadium, you're watching it on TV, it was all about the adjustments, and they made them, and we didn't, we didn't do enough to win. We sat on a lead, and we didn't, you got to close games out. So, I mean, like you said at the very beginning, there are a lot of positives, a lot of stuff to build off, and that's what we want. I don't know that many people expected us to win this game. I didn't. I just thought we will be, and we are more competitive.
Right.
So, it's just it just seemed very, it seemed like it used to be for watching the Bears play from behind, it didn't seem like we didn't seem like a confident team. We didn't seem like someone who was playing with the lead. You know what I mean? It almost felt like we were like trying to, all the passing we were trying, we should have been grinding it out. Anybody who says Vic wasn't pass rushing enough, it's like, no, they're triple teaming people, and you can't do anything in 2.5 seconds. And when you don't have a fast linebacker that can cover in the middle of the field, that's what Aaron Rodgers does. I mean, he'll hit you with that big guy every now and again, the big bomb, but no, man, he picks you apart. He's the best. Like he's a surgeon. That's what happens.
Yeah, he's a surgeon in it.
Yep.
And the thing about it too, I don't think defensively that they took their foot off the gas. I just think that the Packers outperformed them in the second half. I think they outcoached them in the adjustments they made in the second half. But I do feel that way on the offensive side of the ball. I thought in the second half they played in a way of trying not to make mistakes. I don't always agree. I don't agree with the play calling in the lack of running through the tackles, and I felt that way the entire game, whether it was a 17-point lead or they were up by 6. I thought they should have run more between the tackles, but I do feel offensively in the second half he called a different game, just out of not like let's not make mistakes, dude. I mean, I don't know his exact numbers in front of me, but he completed 15 or 16, 17 passes, somewhere around there, whatever it might have been. I know it was under 20, I think. But I saw a thing on Twitter today where five of his completed passes, only 5, dude, traveled more than 5 yards in the air. I mean, I get he hasn't had a full season. It's only his second year, and it's a brand new offense. I expect to see more. Tell me if I was wrong on this. Did I continue to see multiple passes behind the line of scrimmage?
Yeah. A la wide receiver screens, and they, some pick plays, dude, and things like that.
Seriously, I thought those days were gone. I don't want to, you want to do one a game, fine, because you got a great play with a great opportunity and something the defense is showing you right now to do that. I don't want to see passes behind the line of scrimmage anymore. I'm watching this Jets-Lions game last night with, the youngest guy to ever start a game on, opening night, whatever, and Sam Darnold. Dude's throwing 12, 15 yards downfield every time. Stop throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage.
I think, he's limited in his starting, but he also he started games last year. I think that there's a big concern on Mitch's standpoint about turning the ball over, because you could tell he was he's not the guy that we know. He's not the guy that we drafted, not the guy who's on the run making plays. He was, right, dude, because wasn't getting through his second and third progressions.
Right. And at the start of training camp, it was such who cares? They're like, oh, he threw more interceptions today. He threw 3 interceptions today. Who cares what he does in training camp against your own team? You know what I mean?
Take a shot. Right. So I'm hoping that, he just looked like he was pulling his punches a bit, and he was definitely having a hard time going through his reads. Or he was going through them, but I mean, he was not getting to the second, third, fourth reads. And unless my eyes were deceiving me, I'm pretty sure there were at least 2 touchdowns that were wide open. One was, I think we threw a pass behind the line of scrimmage when we were in the red zone, ended up losing 5 yards when Trey Burton was wide open in the middle of the end zone. It was his third read, but who cares? He was wide open in the middle of the end zone.
Right.
And then there was another play where Anthony Miller Allen Robinson just completely owned his guy, and Mitch overthrew him. It was just it was young stuff. I don't know that it's not
Right.
necessarily just about new offense. It's about hopefully he just gets more comfortable, isn't pulling his punches, and we start to see the guy that everybody's talking about. And I think we will. It was just with the first half that we saw, it was so frustrating to see such a different second half.
Right.
It's so easy
it was really frustrating.
pick it apart, but
Yeah,
it was
man,
dramatic.
I've never been so happy in one half and so let down and disappointed in the second half. And I don't know if I experienced it more emotionally because I was there, and I had to really physically feel the energy and the emotion from Packers fans as they were coming back. And when the Bears were up 23-17 and Rodgers got the ball with like 2:30 something to go, 2:40 to go, I must have had this look on my face because Crystal turns to me and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Bears are going to lose."
Yeah,
and
we're
she's like,
done.
"How can you say
I said
that?"
that to Trish.
Yeah, she's like, "How can you say that?" Because they're not going to lose. And I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen it before. 2.5 minutes to go, down by 6, and Aaron Rodgers has the ball." I'm like, I go, "You guys are going to score, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll have 30 seconds to make a pass or two." I didn't know it was going to take 15 seconds, and we'd have the ball with 2:09 to go with 2 timeouts and still the 2-minute warning, and still couldn't put anything together offensively. But I knew it was going to happen. I didn't think it would happen that quick. But and to feel that place move as those Packer fans celebrated, it really killed me physically to be there and to experience that firsthand and actually feel that excitement of watching their team come back from a 20-point deficit.
Yeah, I think I would have had to have put Crystal in the trunk on the way home. I don't.
Well,
there's no way I could have done it.
Our drive home was very quiet. She was very gracious and she was very loving to me on the way home. We didn't really talk a whole lot. She let me put. I was flipping through 780 and 720 and 670 and 1000, going through all their different post game shows. And she let me listen to those and didn't really say anything. It certainly was gracious and not rubbed it in at all. She actually asked if I was okay. And I'm like, "No, I'm not.
No,
I will be. I'm like, just give me some time. I'll be fine." And I will say this too about the Packers fans that I was around because I'm wearing my Bears t-shirt and surrounded by nothing but Packers fans. And they just, they couldn't have been nicer about it and very complimenting of the Bears team and the decisions and the future and the way the team's going to look. This guy next to me has been a season ticket holder for at least 30 years. And he's had this seat in the end zone for at least 30 years. Was a super nice guy, and he was like, "Hang in there. You guys are looking great." He's like, "I'll be honest with you." He goes, "I'm really glad that we had you guys in week 1 and not like week 7 here. Because I think it would have been a really different story." So it was really cool. We hung out at Kroll's, which is a bar right across the street from Lambeau.
I know. Yes,
literally,
I know that place very well. Yeah,
literally across the street. And dude, a great time. I mean, there's fantastic people watching with the crazy Packer fans in their outfits. There was a guy there dressed up like Ditka. He looked like Ditka from the 80s with a sport coat and a sweater.
Yeah, he was on TV. Trust me.
Oh, was he really? Yeah.
Yes.
He was kind of a clown. He walked past me and I was like, "Hey, coach," and he's like, "Don't have time on the phone." I'm like, "All right, you jerk." Then there was a dude, the Packers Pope, saw him. There was a guy walking around. He looked and he was dressed and looked just like Vince Lombardi. It was hysterical. But yeah, it was a really cool place. They had a band going with live music. Had a butter burger, which was unbelievable. There's great food. And of course it's Green Bay. It's still game day, but prices are great because it's still Green Bay even for an event at Lambeau. It was just a really good experience, and I couldn't have been happier just to be there and for Crystal to get tickets for us to go up there and for her to see her team win. But it was a really great day, and that first half just have never felt physically better watching the game in person. And then the flip side of it was that second half, and I felt just as bad on the opposite side of it as I did in the first half. Going into it, Jay, I agree with you. I was like, I thought the Bears were going to lose. My goal was like, just be competitive. Like, be competitive. I want guys to stay healthy, and let's see glimpses of what this team could turn into this year. Because there's a long season to go with 15 more games. I wanted health, and I wanted glimpses of what this team could be. I had no idea the first half was going to happen like it was going to happen, where it gave me that hope that they could win the game, that they should have won the game. But man, those glimpses that I asked for, I saw them, and I'm telling you, teams on the schedule down the road are not going to want to play this top 10, which eventually is going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL.
Oh, just tell me that. I don't know if it's just my. I don't know if hatred is the right word, because I really hate, like actually hate a lot of people, but I wanted so badly for Merman's F up at the end to be the reason like they lost. I just wanted I just wanted Clay Matthews to be the reason they lost. I was like, you stupid, hoping, but no, Nick Perry bailed him out.
That final flag on fourth down was a roughing the passer call on him?
Oh, I mean, there was no question. And he lowered his head. Like, it was just, it was unnecessary roughness. Yeah, like just.
All right, so because, like that play ends, and I'm sitting there and like, all right, the game's over, Bears lost. And then all of a sudden I look up and it's 1st and 10, the Bears had the ball, and there was zero in-house communication about there was even a flag. I mean, asking the guy next to me, I'm like, what was the call? And he's like, I don't know. And the guy in front of me was like, yeah, it's definitely Bears ball still. So he goes, I don't know what the flag was though. Like there was nothing on the screen. There was nothing announced. It was so frustrating, and it was like that the entire game. I mean, I think
the video crew was like, okay, we can go home.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. But like I said, we were in the end zone 43 rows up. But it was still fantastic seats. I mean, anywhere you sit, if you're down in the lower bowl at least, anywhere you sit is fantastic to watch a game there. But their in-house communication was just awful. Now, the stuff they do during TV timeouts is completely obnoxious. I mean, the dude with the in-house microphone and running around doing things, and they had a polka at one point. It was extremely like high schoolish and obnoxious, and I guess that's kind of the thing they're going for. But man, I wish they would invest a little more in communicating like what's going on to people at the game, things that maybe you couldn't see or didn't hear. They would do a better job at that instead of trying to do like it was like going to a minor league baseball game entertainment. Like cut some of that out and be better at like letting people know what's going on in the game.
Yeah, if I had my way, I would take the Vikings horn and shove it up everyone saying "Go Pack, goes ass." That would be what I would do if I were able.
Oh yeah, Go Pack,
he
go
nailed
thing was annoying.
him. Oh God. And but I mean, like he hit him really hard. I mean, the ball was clearly gone, and you even saw at the very end of the game he walked up and gave Nick Perry a hug to say thank you for saving my ass. You just saved my ass with that sack, because otherwise, because we got a first down when it would have been game over. So but what could have been. But yes, we did see lots of good stuff. And I've never liked Seattle, so I'm really looking forward to hopefully a repeat performance.
One real quick thing. Let's go back to the game real quick, because this was a big point of conversation on Sports Talk. And I'm actually, as we're talking, I'm texting with my guy Hub Arkish about the game, because he and I we agreed on this call. So. The 3rd and 1, they late in the game, before they kicked the field goal that made it 23 points. They run the ball, they don't get the first down, they go for the field goal to make it 23 to 17. A lot of people and a lot of the guys I heard on Sports Talk, it didn't matter what station you were on, wanted Nagy to like just throw it all out there on the table and go for it on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. And because they were like, well, it didn't matter, a touchdown puts the game away. A field goal only puts you up by 6. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on it. I completely disagree. I think you take the points at 4th and 1, you kick the field goal. I think a first-year head coach with a defense that isn't even gelled together yet, that hasn't even played together or practice together for a full week. I think if you go for it on 4th and 1, saying that a 6-point lead won't be big enough for my defense, I think that sends a message to the defensive unit about a first-year coach and what his thoughts are on what they can do. I think for me, you take the points there, you go up 6, and you say, all right, guys, you got a 6-point lead, 2.5 to go on the road against our division rivals. Yeah, it's a big ask, but it's something you got to do. I disagree with the notion of going for it on 4th and 1 and not getting anything and still being up by 3.
No, you kick the field goal, and then you hope that defense that had a record-setting first half can make one big play. Like,
right.
There's no question. You get the points,
okay, so
and then you put your guys out there, and you hope they make a
yeah.
play.
Because I think the message you send by doing that is the wrong message. It's saying,
it's like
I don't
neutering
trust
them.
Right. Like, I don't trust you to hold a 6-point lead.
I didn't trust them to hold a 6 with number 12.
The coach, though, you can't do that. I know, but I didn't either. But you can't be that way as the coach.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know, I mean, you have to go there and you got to talk to your team and you got to face them. And if the question came up, well, why'd you go for it? Why didn't you take the points? You know, why do that? Why give them the hope of knowing that all they need is a field goal now to tie it? You got to answer those questions as a head coach. No, man, I'm gonna take a 6-point lead. My defense is gonna hold them. Now, was it Eddie Jackson that was on Cobb? Did he fall, or who was it that was on him that fell? Or did no one fall? I thought someone slipped in the middle of the field that got Cobb wide open. So,
you know what? I can't remember. Someone slipped.
Someone slipped, right? That's what gave such a large opening.
Yeah, you know, but he also, like, after that, you know, because the safety, you know, this is like standard Bear stuff, which is just like so depressing. But like when you hear the quote, the safety bit, you know, like bit on the fake over the top, like and like the whole field was wide open, and then you just, you know, what's crazy about that play too, and I think it might have been Eddie, but I don't want to like throw that guy under the bus, you know, but it was someone like slipped on the tackle.
Yeah.
But if you look downfield, you see the guy who hasn't played a down of football all season, like until that number 52, almost catch him in the end zone.
Right. he tackled him at the goal line. I know. Yeah, dude, it was funny because a few of the guys around me, they were like, "Holy crap! You see, like Mac almost got him. Like holy cow, that guy! Like, wow. I mean, like, it was so impressive. Like the only one going downfield trying to make a play. The only one who like doesn't want this touchdown to happen is the guy who got here less than a week ago."
Did you watch it? I try not to anymore, but I mean, I did watch the replay a couple of times the following day. And if you kind of look, like all the defensive backs just kind of stopped running. And I'm like, what do you know, geez. It's just a poor showing, you know, like when you've got like number 52 making a tackle at the 1 yard line. You guys are 4-4 people. Like, come on. You know, I don't know. It's just the win was out of the sails at that point, and it's a bummer. But yeah, like it was fun to see Mac down.
Game 1 for this new season in the books. The Bears fall to the Packers 24-23. Again, lots of great glimpses of what this defense and what the offense could look like down the road. We'll see how it all develops. Bears take on the Seahawks Monday night, next Monday here at Soldier Field. They are I think I've heard a 3 or 3.5 point favorite to open up the season here at Soldier Field. So looking forward to week number 2 and seeing what the Bears can do against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, who had a disappointing loss also in week number 1. So that wraps up game number 1 for us. Again, Bears fall to the Packers in a disappointing fashion, 24-23. We always like to wrap up our first segment of the AFDE show, and that's what this is. The Baticola and Ferrari discuss everything. With a lot of intense and great look at the Bears game in detail there. This is episode number 46, and it's called Pickled Medley. We like to end the first segment of each show with our tweets of the week. So our Twitter handle at AFDE show. We like to highlight some of the Twitter handles that we follow and suggest that you do the same. If you don't have Twitter, we always tell you, sign up and make us your only follow, and we'll send you a fantastic AFDE show prize.
Okay. First handle is at you had one job one. We haven't mentioned these
I
guys.
love that handle. Yeah.
I know we haven't mentioned these guys in a while, but I was like, what is this thing? So the tweet is, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. And the photo, so this is like so many different random things that that go into this. It's the brand is Lamb Young, LAMYONG. The name of the product is vegetarian ham. It's chicken flavor. So it's Lamb Young vegetarian ham chicken flavor. So it just looks repugnant. It's all right. So that's at you had one job
disgusting.
one. Oh yeah. At Steve Schmidt, who we've talked about before, who was the guy who ran McCain's campaign, political strategist who recently left the GOP. It was Anderson Cooper tweeted out that Obama was speaking, and he said, "Amen. A president of the United States of America is in the house." So,
oh geez,
that's a dig. I appreciate. Okay, there is this. The website cracked.com. It's like it's like Mad Magazine, like kind of like Cracked magazine.
Oh, okay.
So there's this picture of this guy who it just looks like a sleazebag, but he kind of looks like Zach Braff. So it's the crack.com thing is a con man defrauded millions solely to date Anne Hathaway. 5 over-the-top lies that worked really well. And Zach Braff retweeted it and said, I have apologized for this many times.
I did see that. Very, very funny. Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was a good one.
Oh, at Josh Molina, who, man, him and Bradley Whitford just are like my favorites. Their political stuff is so good. If you don't know him, that's the guy who took Rob Lowe's character over in The West Wing. And his tweet is, "Give me liberty or give me death." Dash. So the many celebrities were having their field day with the anonymous quote. Ryan Reynolds it's been a couple of weeks that I haven't said something from him at Vicinity Reynolds. So honored by all the at People's Choice noms. Hope you vote for Deadpool 2 and feel free to write us in for best family film because watch your fucking back, Paddington. I love him, man. All right. The Onion. I figured this was timely given the vegan scenario that is about to happen. It's study. Red meat takes years off cows' lives.
I saw that. It was great.
And then another Onion tweet to wrap it up. Alex Jones returns to humble roots of screaming conspiracy theories through megaphone at people in the park because he was permanently banned from Twitter, as he should be.
Which was a very good thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, now I just sound like someone who's not an advocate for free speech, but you talk about riling up the masses in the wrong way.
Well, you certainly do advocate free speech. You just don't advocate stupidity, which that's all that guy would ever spew. His disgusting take on the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting being a hoax and being fake, and actually saying it to parents of children who were killed in a gun massacre is reason enough for me that guy never to be able to speak ever again. So I'm all about free speech. I'm not about the freedom of stupidity, though. That's for sure. That guy's a disgusting human being.
Hateful speech. It does more harm than good.
Right.
And those are the Twitter highlights of the week.
So yeah, follow us on Twitter at AFDE Show. We'd like to highlight a few of the Twitter handles that we follow. Suggest you do the same. Get yourself an account and follow us. We'll take a brief time out. This is episode number 46. It's called Pickled Medley, and he's Ferrari. I'm Batacola. And we're brought to you by our good friends over at Mickey Finn's. They are Illinois' oldest brew pub. You can check them out at mickeyfinsbrewery.com. Fantastic beer brewed right there on site. Great bar food, as well as live entertainment every Friday and Saturday. Next week, they release their Oktoberfest as we get ready for all the fantastic fall and October beers in the craft beer world. So check them out, mickeyfinsbrewery.com. He's Ferrari. I'm Batacola. It's the AFDE Show. We're back episode 46, Pickled Medley, in just a few minutes.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Welcome back into episode 46. It's Pickled Medley. It's the Batacola Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast. Thanks for being here with us. We do appreciate your continued support. Remember, tell your friends, neighbors, family, coworkers all about the Batacola Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast. We're brought to you by Mickey Finn's, 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in beautiful and historic downtown Libertyville, the oldest brew pub in Illinois. Check them out at mickeyfinnsbrewery.com. And I know you're very concerned about this, Jason. The Cubs have just beat the Milwaukee Brewers 3-0. So they won the second game of the 3-game series, and now they have a 2-game lead or 3-game lead in the division. I don't even know. Yeah, maybe 3. Maybe
That's
2.
perfect for this segment.
Is it really? Well, perfect.
That's
Because
so
we like to start off the second segment of every episode. And again, this is episode 46, Pickled Medley. And we like to start off each segment with That's So Wisconsin. We like to find stories that highlight the great state of Wisconsin, someone from Wisconsin, or an activity in Wisconsin. And it's brought to you by Will's Northwoods Inn, our very good friends, 3030 North Racine in the South Lakeview area. Check them out online at willsnorthwoodsinn.com. Jason was there last weekend for the Muskie Fest. Lynn Bramer from XRT was Muskie Queen and crowned a new Muskie Queen. It is a fantastic neighborhood bar. You don't have to be a Wisconsinite or a Packer fan or a Badger fan to enjoy it. You just have to enjoy a great bar with great atmosphere and great people. 3030 North Racine in the South Lakeview area, willsnorthwoodsinn.com.
Real quick, too, as Matt said, I was at Muskie Fest, and it did not disappoint. It was an awesome day. And I actually stopped into Will's yesterday to talk to Kevin for a bit, just to kind of, because as you can imagine, it was a little hectic for him that day. But I noticed that I had never seen that many people at Muskie Fest before, and he said it broke all records for the amount of people. But it was super, super fun. The live music was great. Crowd was great. It was an absolute blast. So hopefully we'll get Kevin to come on and on the show one time. He said he would love to do that and
awesome.
Share his experience. So the story that I found this week, it was actually tough to find stuff that wasn't super depressing. There's a lot of political stuff going on in Wisconsin, and I just did not want to get into any of that stuff. So I did, luckily, on page 9 of my news search in Wisconsin, find an article on the Post-Crescent, which talks about the 15 Guinness World Records that are set in Wisconsin. Some of these are interesting. Some of these we've actually talked about on this show.
Okay.
One of them being the most amount of Big Macs. I think if you remember that.
Oh
one.
yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yes, but we will. We'll get down to that one in a second. But number 1 on the list is the largest collection of Smurf memorabilia. That's not random at all. We did mention this on the show. The largest cheese platter at 4,400 pounds. And the article says close to the weight of 14 Brian Balagas. So the most Big Macs consumed, that was Don Gorski, who ate, remember, it was from 1972 to the time of that article in 2016, 30,000 Big Macs.
Awful.
Home to the largest scoop of ice cream. The sculpture weighed in at 3,010 pounds. The longest career as a police officer held by Lieutenant Anna Winter. He was there from 61 years, 1942 to 2003. Wow.
Wow.
The longest video game marathon of Minecraft. Ugh. That's sad.
Right.
The tallest living horse, 6'11".
Seriously.
Here's one that I am not surprised by at all. The fastest time to drink 1 liter of gravy, 12 seconds.
Of gravy?
Gravy, yes. 1 liter.
Nice.
The most torches extinguished by a fire eater in 1 minute. He extinguished 101 flames. Let's see.
Congratulations on that.
The oldest groom, 103. The smallest unicycle ridden. It's 11 inches tall. People, oh God, wow. How is that not it's not a hipster either. Most siblings to complete a marathon, 16 from Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Most perfect games of Wii Sports Bowling. Oh my God. Who submits that?
Right.
Who keeps track of it? Not to be confused with my bathroom several times when Matt comes down to record. The tallest toilet paper roll pyramid. 14 feet high, 19 feet wide, 25,585 rolls of toilet paper. And the fastest marathon carrying a 100-pound pack. William Koken of Green Bay lugged a 100-pound backpack for 26.2 miles. Holy crap, that is insane. That's like carrying another person. Whew. All right. So those are 15 world records held in the fine state of Wisconsin.
And that's our segment. That's So Wisconsin. It's brought to you by Will's Northwoods Inn, 3030 North Racine in the South Lakeview area. They're online at willsnorthwoodsinn.com. Add a little bit of God's country in the heart of South Lakeview. And again, I just want to reiterate, you don't have to be a Wisconsinite from Wisconsin. You don't have to want to live in Wisconsin, be a Packers fan or a Brewers fan or a Badgers fan to enjoy a great neighborhood bar. And that's exactly what Will's Northwoods Inn is, a fantastic neighborhood bar at 3030 North Racine, willsnorthwoodsinn.com.
All right, next story. This is interesting, and I don't know why it always seems to happen on our show.
Okay.
But it's the state of Ohio and Florida really teeter back and forth with the stories. This is on our very own WGN Chicago. Headline: resource on leave for using taser to wake sleeping student.
Oh boy.
Oh, God. Okay. When a junior fell asleep in class on August 30th at Liberty Preparatory School, the teacher and interim principal tried to wake him up, both unsuccessfully. That's when Officer Marissa Biskowski, 32, a part-time school resource officer, had an idea. It was just an attempt to wake him up. I just pulled the taser out and pushed the button to make that sound. Taser she actually did not tase the student, but the fact that a teacher and an assistant principal, the acting principal, are unsuccessful in waking this kid up. So what? That's a special kind of nap. But they bring in a part-time resource officer who puts a taser next to the student's head. Just feel like, geez, that's not good. And if it would have touched him, again, that's a taser on someone's head.
Right. It's funny you mentioned the Florida and Ohio thing, how they teeter back and forth. The guys in the afternoon drive on ESPN 1000, they do a daily segment, and it's entitled Ohio or Florida, and their producer reads the story, and they have to guess which state it's from, whether it's Ohio or Florida. It's really good. It's one of those segments that I the first time I heard it, it's like as a longtime producer, I was like, gosh darn it, that's what a great idea. It's like one of those ideas that you wish you had, and not someone else doing it. But yeah, pretty funny stuff. But I don't know what it is about Florida and Ohio, man. But you're right. The stories go back and forth, and the weirdos there and the illegal stuff they do.
Oh yeah. So that's that was on WGN. Here's an article. I was actually reading NPR just because I like to read NPR, and came across this headline, and I'm curious what your guess is, and then I'll tell you what the answer is. So,
okay.
In an airport, where do you think the most viruses live? Hint: it's probably not your first thought.
No, you know what? I heard the story, and I know what the answer is, so I can either spoil it for you, or I can let you tell the story.
Well, no, I mean, like if you know what I could still tell the story. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the plastic buckets at TSA.
Yes. Everyone, who they asked this question to immediately said the toilet, which I'm not going to lie, toilets and bathrooms or toilets and airports are like a special kind of awful.
They're disgusting.
But
yeah.
Yes. So researchers have evidence that plastic trays and security lines are a haven for respiratory viruses. The trays likely harbor more of these pathogens than the flushing button on airport toilets.
Oh man, that's gross.
Seriously. Oh, I mean, and think about how sick are TSA people like all the time, right? Like, I mean, I know they're wearing gloves, but they're touching their face and stuff. Like, that is gross, man. Yeah, but I think myself, like most people thought it would be the bathroom.
Right, yeah, I thought it was the bathroom too at first, but then, I mean, that's our $1 million idea. Our $1 million idea is right here. I mean, we need to do like an insert that is easy to get around those plastic tubs and disposable. So someone walks up and they grab those things, they cover up the bucket, they put their stuff in, get through the line, take their stuff out, throw the disposable liner away. That's our $1 million idea right there that I just told the world.
I just feel like there's no amount of sanitizer that is helpful in that instance. I mean, you know what? While I appreciate, and this is the name of the scientists, they're called virologists who did this study. I would like the top universities in the country to do a study of how I can get through the TSA line faster. That would be the study that I'm for. I will wash my hands and face on my. I'll take the heat. I'll do that on my own. So yeah. Okay. I can't believe I find these things. Like I'm not trying to. I'm not Googling like ridiculous stories. It's just as you're reading the news, then you see like this headline, and I have to click on it.
Sure.
This one is called "Pay per Pee." Restaurant owner fined over sarcastic dog urination sign. So in New Haven, Connecticut, a sarcastic sign in the window of a Connecticut restaurant asking people not to let their dogs pee on the eatery's outside flower pot has earned the owner a $250 fine. Oh God, my brain just went to Long Duck Dong because the guy's name is Duck Win. But owner of Duck's Place in New Haven tells the New Haven Independent, how many times can New Haven be in the first two sentences? He was disgusted with people allowing their dogs to urinate on his pot. He thought a humorous sign was a good way of discouraging dog walkers from letting pets relieve themselves there. It read, "Attention dog owners. This is a pay-per-pee flower pot. Pay inside or leave your address and we'll kindly return the favor." It's actually kind of funny, but yeah. So it says, Honda Smith, the city's public space enforcement officer, said Wynn broke 2 city ordinances for being a public nuisance and issued the fine Tuesday. Wynn says he plans to appeal. So while I find it amusing, I guess that he did break the law by threatening to go pee in someone's yard, which reminds me a lot of the poop stories that we tell.
Jeez, man. Yeah, right. Like some people are so sensitive. Like, for the love, man. It's a joke.
I know, yeah. Whatever. But the fact that this guy's like, he took it that seriously, that he needed to make a sign with a threat. People are special. So yeah, they're really getting it done in Connecticut. Welcome to the
New Haven, right? Was it
New Haven, Connecticut? Welcome.
I wasn't sure you mentioned that. Was it New Haven? New Haven, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's actually New Haven, Connecticut. So after all of that nonsense and bear stuff and fun stuff and sports stuff and whatnot, that brings us to our inspirational story of the week,
which is brought to you by the Health Guardian, makers of all natural supplements specializing in cardiovascular health and with products focusing on pain relief, weight loss, male wellness, and colon health. Check out their full line of products at www.healthguardian.com.
And this is especially for you, although I did find 3 things that would normally be on the the Good News Network. I actually found something on a different website, Sunny Skies, SKYZ.com. We've used some of their stories before as well.
Got to have a Z in it.
But as far as I'm concerned, there can't be enough good news sites. I'd much rather read them. The headline of this article is Siblings Lift Overturned SUV and Save Family with Newborn Trapped Inside, which just that headline alone is crazy. But Aaron Allen and his sister Jolisa Jones saw a car go into the water and flip. There was a mother, a father, and an 11-day-old baby inside. Aaron and Jolisa jumped into the water to try to save them. I saw the water was seeping into the car where it was turned upside down. Aaron told Fox in Tampa, we tried to break the windows, but the thing I could think of was to flip the car over. So I told my sister to help me so we could flip it over to its side. What happened is after we did flip it to the side, I just took my shirt off and was able to break the window. Aaron and Jolisa saved all 3 people inside, and they are all doing just fine, including the newborn. However, Aaron seriously injured his hand in the process. As my fist was coming out of the windshield, it hooked on glass and pulled my skin all the way back in a big chunk. The glass tore into my tendons in my arm. But he says he has absolutely no regrets. If I was in that situation, I would want someone to come to my rescue. Honestly, I would want someone to help me. So, heroes in Florida. There you go, man. Wow. We got to turn the Florida around upside down.
So not only an inspirational story, but something positive from the state of Florida. So it's a double win.
Yes, it is. So the Aaron and Jolisa Jones, thank you for being heroes. That's our inspirational story of the week.
Yeah, it's brought to you by the Health Guardian, makers of all natural supplements specializing in cardiovascular health. And with products focusing on pain relief, weight loss, male wellness, and colon health, check out their full line of products at www.healthguardian.com. And that puts a bow on episode number 46. I can't believe that we're almost at 50 episodes. Episode 46, this was a Pickled Medley. I hope you enjoyed the program. Thank you for your continued support. We're always downloading the show, and we always tell you each week, please be sure to let your neighbors, friends, coworkers, and family members know all about the show. Follow us on Twitter at AFDE Show, Facebook.com/AFDE Show, and you can email all of your thoughts because Jason sits up all night long waiting for your emails at afdeshow@gmail.com. Want to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Mickey Finn's, located at 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in beautiful and historic downtown Libertyville. Check them out online at mickeyfinsbrewery.com. Great food, beer brewed right on site, the oldest brew pub in Illinois, and live entertainment every weekend. Oktoberfest is released next week. Very excited about that. And also Will's Northwoods Inn, 3030 North Racine in the South Lakeview area, willsnorthwoodsinn.com. Add a little bit of God's country in the heart of South Lakeview. So thanks for listening to the show. Tell a friend about the program. Remember, life is short, so be good to each other and always show love over hate. On behalf of Jason, I'm Matt. This is the Abaticola Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast. Thanks so long. We'll talk to you next time. Episode number 46, Pickled Medley in the books. Take care.